Hello everyone, my name's Takenaka and I'm the producer on the Resident Evil 0 HD remaster.
Resident Evil 0.
So we were very lucky to have Oda-san involved, and it let us do things like remaster and brush up and add new content and even the new things like the new modes, while being confident that we weren't interfering with the original vision and we were keeping it in line with the sort of spirit of the original game. Other than Oda, we actually have other staff as well on the title, on the general team, who originally worked on Ori 0, so it's thanks to having these guys around that they can really put their passion from the original project back into the remaster, and I feel like that's really helped us go, to the next level above the usual quality you see from remake titles. When we re-rendered the model data that we still had, the files in the archive of from 13 years ago, there was all kinds of newly visible details that it showed me that even though we had to downscale the models at the time, the quality that they were actually designed in was really high. Unfortunately, that meant that there's some stuff that we had to really redo because there's details you could see now that you could never see in the original game. For example, we made a texture for the plate saying that you're about to go into the dining car, but it turned out we actually reused that texture in a lot of places that weren't the dining car because you couldn't read the text on it anyway at the time, and it just looked like it said something and it didn't really matter. But now that we can see it in full resolution, we had to redesign them because otherwise everywhere is the dining car. And for example, another one was that one of the posters that's up on the train, the person on it wasn't very visible originally, but now it's very clear to see. It's just a photograph of one of the programmers from the time, which is probably a nice in-joke at the time because nobody could really see it, but we had to redo that one now because it's kind of obvious. So in a way, even though it involved some extra work, I was really glad to see that the details were all in there, even from 13 years ago. RE0 was actually the more difficult remake because it had so many more moving video backgrounds and things, and to get a bit technical, the fact that you can switch between two characters in real time means that two different areas of the game have to be loaded in memory constantly because you can switch at any moment without any pause. So yeah, it was actually good to have done this one second and have a lot of overall technical know-how picked up from the original project. If we had done it in the other way around and done RE0 first, to be honest, it might have been so difficult we might not have made it to the subsequent remake. In terms of learnings on how to design the remaster, obviously the RE1 remake had tank controls included, which a lot of fans were happy about, but we got a lot of feedback that they wanted to go a step further because the GameCube version on which the remaster is based already modernized the shooting controls somewhat. A lot of fans said they wanted to get the original shooting controls from the PlayStation 1 version where you hold down R1 and press square to shoot. So we learned from that and we've included that as an option this time around in RE0, as well as the general tank controls versus modern movement controls option. So you unlock Wesker mode after finishing the game for the first time, and this has been a bit of a regular thing in the Resident Evil series. We've tended to offset the tension and sort of horror of the first playthrough with something a bit more fun and out there, like giving you different weapons or different experiences to try. So it's a bonus mode, so I think people have been wondering since we announced it whether it was going to have a new storyline for Wesker. Sorry guys, it's going to be just a gameplay based experience. Also, I think some fans were saying that this kind of slightly crazy looking mode that they saw in the announcement trailer doesn't really suit the game's atmosphere or something, but I'd like them to remember that this is the series where we brought you playing as a giant slice of tofu in Resident Evil 2, so I think it's been a part of our history to try and sort of break the tension of the main part of the game with some jokey, fooling around type side modes, so Wesker mode definitely fits into that canon, so to speak. As for why we went with Resident Evil 5 Wesker, we wanted to give him his powers that he has from that era of the game storyline, from the Ouroboros virus. And of course, if we used the version of Wesker that appears in Resident Evil 0, he wouldn't have those powers, and he also is very much a kind of behind the scenes, pulling the strings kind of character who basically appears in cutscenes. So in order to make him fit the gameplay design we had in mind, we went with the Resident Evil 5 era version of Wesker.